your MC for this evening. Welcome to a virtual candidate forum presented by the Bartow Chamber of Commerce and the Main Street Baptist Church. We are coming to you from Main Street Baptist Church tonight and want to thank the church for the use of its facility as well as their technology that is making this event possible. I would also like to thank Laura Simpson, our technical manager, for her expertise. More than 50 questions were submitted by Bartow citizens for tonight's event, far too many to cover in a 1-hour time slot. Therefore, the questions were sorted as to subject matter, resulting in the 10 questions that will be presented to each candidate. The final questions were selected from a group of questions submitted by community members to an online poll. We want to thank everyone who took time to submit questions. We got some good ones. Our format tonight will allow each candidate the opportunity to respond to questions regarding the following categories: why each candidate believes they are the voters' best choice, public safety, infrastructure, amenities, diversity, quality of life, and affordable housing. In order to cover all of the topics, we ask each candidate to limit their responses to 90 seconds. That's a minute and a half. At the end of 1 minute, you will hear a bell. Know that this is a signal that you have 30 seconds left to respond. This election, to be held on Tuesday, April 5th, will decide Commission Seat number 3, which is the North District. The candidates for Seat 3 are Gary Ball, Trish Burton Pfeiffer, Gerald Cochran, and Stephen Johansson. So with that said, let's get started. Mr. Johansson, why should the citizens of Bartow give you their vote?
Well, first I want to say thank you. Thank you and good evening to everyone out there. And I am Stephen Johansson, and it is an honor and a privilege to be here tonight to introduce myself as a proud citizen of Bartow, and I'm also an enthusiastic candidate for the Bartow City Commission election for seat number 3. But before I get started, I just want to also say thank you to the Bartow Chamber and all that have worked behind the scenes, as well as this opportunity here. I also like to thank my wife for her undivided and support that she has given me, because that is one of the reasons why I'm also running. I'd like to also note that today is International Women's Day, so happy International Women's Day. But going on to this, I believe this election it's not about me. It's about the citizens of Bartow and what they deserve and what they want. Every person in this city deserves a strong, dependable foundation to rely upon and heard and represented and thoughtful decisions that affect them. Now, a strong foundation can only be provided with trusted and transparent leaders. And in Bartow, this is a foundation of strength and trust that starts with the City Commission. Now, some people have mentioned that I don't belong on this commission. But because I am, I'm not different. I'm a resident here in Bartow. Thank you.
Same question to Ms. Pfeiffer. Why should the citizens of Bartow give you their vote?
Thank you, Clifton, and I also want to thank the Chamber for having this forum tonight and giving us a voice to Facebook Land, and also to Main Street Baptist for letting us have it here. I am born and raised in Bartow. I have 3 children, 3 girls and a husband, and various cats and dogs. And I am a lover of our city. I had a wonderful role model in my mother, who paved many trails in Bartow. I'm also experienced in that I'm a former mayor and commissioner in Bartow. I was a commissioner for 6 years, so I have been down this road before, and I have already gotten the certifications from the Advanced Institute for Municipal Elected Officials. I've been through that program with the League of Cities. I won 4 Home Rule awards for advocating for our municipal home rule powers, and I've just been caring, connected, and committed to our city, and I think experience matters, and I'm hoping that you will turn out on April 5th or before and vote, because this is an important election, so hope to see you then.
Mr. Cochran, the same question. Why should Bartow give you their vote?
Well, first of all, my name is Gerald J. Cochran, 1615 North Street, Bartow. I was born in Bartow, lived in Bartow most of my life, except the time I was in the service, which lasted 8 years. I went into service in 1958 and got out in 1966. I have run previously 28 times. This is my 29th run for city commissioner. I have attended most city commissioner meetings for the last 50 years or so. And I believe in honesty and justice for all the citizens of Bartow. I do not agree most of the time with some of the things that happens at the city commissioner's meeting. But most of all, I am opposed, and I do not like to be put on 3-minute time limit by anyone, because I have served to give them freedom of speech most of my life, and there's a million good Americans give them their life to give them those rights, and we have got commissioners that want to take our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, and our freedom of speech away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ball, the same question. Why should the citizens of Bartow give you their vote?
Thank you, Clifton. I'd like to take and start off by thanking the Chamber as well for taking and putting this forum on, Main Street Baptist for hosting it. I'd also like to extend a thanks to Billy Simpson for his many years of service and dedication, and wish him all the best in his transition to civilian. I've lived in Bartow all my life. I've taken and enjoyed serving the public for over 40 years, both as a business owner, as a public safety representative, caring for many of our citizens through their best days and some not their best days. During my career in public safety, I developed a unique set of skills in planning, implementing, and leading others in times of disaster and recovery. I've served on the Department of Health Committee for over 14 years. I've written grants. I've been a grant reviewer for the state, for statewide improvements. There are several challenges ahead as we prepare to grow within our community. We must assess, plan for, and move forward to meet those needs of public safety, public utility services, and amenities to continue to attract those looking to establish lifelong roots in Bartow. My 40 years of experience will help Bartow to create an infrastructure in needs of support and implementing that growth. I believe that we can bring together a stronger community with less divisiveness and more collaboration and positive shaping of our future. If given the opportunity to serve on this city commission, I will commit to serving with civility.
Thank you very much. Second question has to do with public safety. Ms. Pfeiffer. Public safety is vital to any community. How do you view Bartow's present level of police and fire protection, and what, if any, changes do you recommend?
Public Public safety. First, I want to say for the police department, a big kudos to them. They have recently been accredited. They have a dual accreditation, and their department is accredited, and then they have a specific accreditation for the dispatch communication department. This usually takes about 2 years, and it took them 6 months to get the communication one. And not only that, the dispatch manager, not the dispatch, the accreditation manager just won a state award yesterday for the accreditation work that they did. So we know our police department is going in a good direction. However, I do feel that they need to have more officers. It all depends on the level of service that we want in town. For example, we do not have a traffic division. So speeding is a problem in town, so it has to take away from other officers' areas by the fact that we don't have that. So if we had more officers, we'd be able to have a division just for traffic. So according to the FDLE, by population ratio, we are short about 13 officers according to our population. So other than that, property crimes have fallen in the last 10 years by 74%, and police are proactive and have helped in this effort. And violent crimes, unfortunately, are up, and that's probably due to COVID. And again, there you go. But they're doing good.
Mr. Johansson, the same question. Public safety is vital to the community. How do you view Bartow's present level of police and fire protection, and what, if any, changes do you recommend?
Well, I think we're getting a little feedback here. I've got the mic. Okay. As far as the police, I believe the police are doing an excellent job. Our leadership is by far the best it's ever been, and also the people, the other officers they're being promoted. So that shows that not only we have great leadership, but there's a lot of vision that they have for our young officers. Our fire department, they've been doing an incredible job, but as this city is growing, and it's growing very quickly, both departments, I believe, really need stronger, what's the word I'm trying to think of? They just need a little bit more support financially. It would be great if we could have something like another hub station, or even just a central station for our police and our fire department. And that's how I feel right now about all this. Thank you.
Mr. Ball, the same question regarding public safety.
Yes, sir. I'd like to take and thank Chief Dorman for all of the quality work that he's done with his department. I believe that he has taken and done an amazing thing in reducing our crime rate in the last several years. Even through his time that he maintained just as an intern, he has shown his true leadership. I believe that we need to take and increase the staffing at the police department, that to take and meet the ratios of closer to a 1 to 400. Currently, they're running at a 1 to 485 per population capita for the city of Bartow. I believe this is taken to provide for increased protection for the community, as well as increased protection for the officers themselves. As far as fire department, studies have been going back to as early as the late 60s, indicated that Bartow needed a second fire department. That needs to be addressed, as well as with all the growth that we have to the north. We're going to have to take and start progressing to get them more support. That's going to be from manpower, more suppression equipment, and better locations, more strategic to take and provide for the safety of the public. With what we have developing to the north, it's going to be an absolute must. I believe we also need to stabilize employee retention, create an implementation of succession plans within the departments. If we don't give them anywhere to grow, they're going to take and be encouraged to take and look at where to go. It's not always the money. They got to take and look at where they're going to grow in the departments and to be able to provide safety.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cochran, your views about the police and fire department.
Well, I think we have a fine police chief and officers on our police department, but they need help by the citizens of Bartow. In other words, when you see somebody in your neighborhood that don't belong there, let the police know about it. And also, the police needs to make more trips around the neighborhoods where most of the crime is being committed. Like I say, if you don't help the police department, you're going to lose a lot of your rights by the police department. And the mothers should take notice and keep track of where their kids is in the neighborhood, where kids won't be getting into mischief and breaking in people's houses and so forth to steal items that they want or need. And a lot of it boils down to drugs. Try to keep the drugs out of your neighborhood where your kids won't get involved and get addicted to the drugs. And there's a lot going on around the crime in certain areas, and that's where most of your police should be patrolling and put in those sections in those neighborhoods. And the noise issue is also needs to be looked upon by the police department.
Just a reminder, the bell signifies that you have 30 seconds left, not mean that you cut it off right then. Question number 3 has to do with assessment of the city. And how do you assess the state of the city in regards to leadership, morale, fiscal effectiveness, the pace of change in a shifting environment? Mr. Ball.
I believe the city takes and has many challenges with that, going from their top management, being the commission, being able to take and have the assets to be able to move forward to make change with progressive amenities, to take and make changes within our department heads, and the ability to take and provide services to the community. I believe that we could take and know that we have taken and come from being in a city of deficit some 14 years ago when Manager Long took office. We, understanding at this time, have a surplus. We are at ability to take and control that through a reduction in maintaining a low millage on our taxes. However, I believe that we could take and start moving forward with repairing some amenities that are in disarray, being our parks and recs, our leisure services, taking and caring for our pool at the Civic Center, and the growth of our children. We've taken it over the years, allowed amenities to be built in other cities that are attracting our kids away from us, whether it be soccer fields, softball fields. Those are things that we have assets to be able to take and improve and enhance, and I think that will also take and help us to take and maintain our children here and to take and entice young families to take and move to the city of Bartow.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cochran, same question. Your assessment of the city and its leadership, morale, fiscal effectiveness, pace of change in a shifting environment.
Well, what I'm seeing in the city of Bartow, there's a lot of appropriate people that's dissatisfied the way the city's being run. And one thing is some of the ordinances being brought upon the citizens of Bartow by the code enforcement is writing some people up and letting the others go. There's a lot that can be done to justify some of the things that's being done by code enforcement against the people with their private property rights. That is the ones that's paying the bills in Bartow. And some of the commissioners don't realize that that's where most of the money that runs Bartow is all about, is private property rights. And no one has the rights to go against your Bill of Rights and your Constitution to tell you what you can do and what you can't do on your own private property. And I've been experienced that for over 40 years. They've been harassing me and my private property. And that shouldn't be let going on by the commissioners, the mayor, the police department, or nobody, because there is laws against harassment by someone that is supposed to be working for your interests.
Mr. Johansson, your question regarding leadership.
Okay, leadership. We're growing, and with growing, you have growing pains. You have roads that deteriorate because we have more cars. We have more people coming here and wanting to live here because it's a great place to live. And you know, lately we've had a lot of negativity, and you know, the negativity is starting to spread outside the community. But once you come here and you see what's happening, and you see the growth, and you see the people, and you meet and talk to the people, you want to know more. And I believe our leadership is doing their job like they're supposed to. However, I think we could do a little bit better job in just regulating the growth. And by that is also by listening to what the people have to say. The people of Bartow have voices. And as a leadership, we need to start listening to these people. And I don't have all the answers, but we should get some answers here very soon with all these questions that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Pfeiffer.
Thank you, Clifton. Leadership in our city has been a challenge, I believe. It's not an easy job, but I think there's definitely room for improvement. In reading the commissioner's evaluation of the city leadership, one thing that kept coming up, surfacing through the majority of them, was the fact that we tend to bottleneck a lot and takes a long time to get things done. I can understand that to a degree, but it's exceedingly long, and so I'm hoping that we can work on that as a future that is a challenge, so that we can get to the end point more efficiently and effectively instead of years taking to get things done. Morale-wise, there has been definitely a morale issue in the city employee arena, and that's something that has concerned me for years, and so that's probably connected to the bottleneck issue. Fiscally, yes, we are in much better shape than we were over here on this aspect, but on the other end of it, we are sort of choking at the fact that we don't have the facilities up to par that we should have. Like Mr. Ball was saying, our kids are leaving this town, going to other cities. This is too short a time to try to get these points across, for crying out loud. These are heavy questions. Bam. Oh, geez.
Thank you very much. This next question has to do with infrastructure. Infrastructure is a key part of any city, and it's paramount to have everything from sewage, water, electricity, internet, and roadways in good repair and functioning properly. What are your recommendations on ensuring our infrastructure will keep up with future growth? Mr. Johansson.
Wow, that is a very good question, and a minute and 30 is not easy to answer that. Again, we're growing. It's not just our city, but it's also the county and our state. Everybody wants to come here and be here. To make all improvements, for me to make suggestions, the best answer I can really come up with is what do the people of Bartow want? They want better roads. They want they want their questions answered when we have meetings of the city. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ball, same question regarding infrastructure.
Yes, sir. I take and believe that we need to assure that we assess, plan, and move forward to meet the needs of the public, that for public safety. That's with our law enforcement, our fire departments. Public utilities as well as sanitation, as we have added many new homes and residents to the north. We've taken and not added any sanitation additional resources. So we need to take a look at moving to that, as well as the improvements, the enhancements we're making with the internet to take and provide a better service for the citizens. We need to take and continue, though, with that and protect and enhance our downtown growth. That's to maintain our small town, hometown charm. That's what brings people to us. That's why some of us never have left. Continue to work to attract that growth to allow, with our development, to allow commercial corporate entities to take and to decide that it's time to move to our city. This will take and not take away from our downtown charm, but enhance it and give people, citizens, a desire to not leave Bartow for other avenues of entertainment or dining. It allows us to continue to work with developers and investors to strengthen our utilities and continue with our water co-op. That's going to be our future. Currently, we're looking at 2031 as our current resource. We need to add to that, and our current co-op that Mr. Simpson's been working on is to lead to take us out to 2045. We're going to continue to take and have to look for other avenues for that as a resource.
Thank you very much. Ms. Pfeiffer, same question regarding infrastructure.
Okay, I'm going to talk fast. So infrastructure does cover a lot of areas: water, internet, paving, sewer lines, and on and on. The two most important that are important to the people are internet and water, and probably internet over water, because you know how connected we are to our devices. Internet, years ago, I attended 2 Fiber Connect conferences just on internet and how we could become an internet utility, and it got stalled. It didn't happen, but we all know we can't work, our businesses can't work without the internet, and it is a problem. I've checked on the strategic plan. Top priority, the internet fiber is one of them, but right now it's waiting to see what the provider is doing in town and how we can work with them. Water is Mr. Ball said, Commissioner Simpson has done a great job on the water co-op. This is going to increase our water prices down the road. There's just no getting around it, but we are in a good position, Bartow is. We have a water permit that is through 2031. We are not using the capacity right now that we are allotted through the water district permitting, so we're actually in good shape. Paving, we have a 5-year plan that's just been extended to 7 years, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is what is it that will attract people to our cities. People aren't coming here because of our wastewater treatment plant. They're coming here because of amenities and things like the internet that they can get readily with high speeds. So those are important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cochran, the same question concerning infrastructure.
Well, our infrastructure needs to be kept up and in good shape, especially water and sewer. And we need to put a cap on some of our developments all at one time. Development will come, but too much at one time is hazardous for all of our utilities and so forth. Like I say, development will come, but too much at one time and avoiding the people's wishes to keep some of the development from destroying their livelihood and their properties by letting development come in, and development that wants to increase bill out by more houses per acre should not be allowed. In other words, if not, the cars at the houses will be parking in the roads and the street and the side, anywhere they can park a car, because the lots is not big enough and the yard's not big enough to supply what cars is in each household. And these developers never put no extra parking in their developments. They want to get many houses as they can in the development and forget about the parking.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cochran. This next question has to do with amenities. Parks and play places allow families to bond, creating an enhanced quality of life. What are your ideas on enhancing youth sports here in Bartow? And also, what would you recommend to help recruit and hire people for the Leisure Services Department? First person, Ms. Pfeiffer.
This is a question that I was near and dear to my heart when I was a commissioner the first time. And what I learned at one of the conferences, which I loved going to and soaking in information to bring back to our cities, is that people love an amenity-rich environment. And that is true. We all know that we love to have something to do in our spare time, our recreational time. And so it's very, very important. And the time when I was a commissioner, I kept saying, we're very good under the hood, but we don't have any bells and whistles. We're driving with roll-up windows, and we need more things for the people to do. It's very important. On the strategic plan, top priority, the only thing that is in the top priority that's recreational is the aquatic facility. That will be a phenomenal complex if we get it funded and we do it. Leisure Services has done a great job with their report on all of the parks and programming and what they're trying to do. They've acknowledged where areas are deficient and what they want to do to try to get them all back together, but it's a huge process, and it has to be prioritized and funded. So the first thing that we're hoping to get done, I hope, is the aquatic facility. But there's a lot more, including the soccer fields that are very deficient. So amenities are what bring people to us. It's what people look for in cities when they want to move there. We are way behind in that area, so I'm hoping that we can catch up.
Thank you very much. Mr. Johansson, your response to the amenities question.
Yes, I too agree. Amenities is very important. My background, I played semi-pro and professional soccer, so I believe sports programs are very important for children and families because it unifies them, but also teaches the children to be more disciplined, to focus. And right now, it's kind of sad because I've been hearing through this campaign and talking to other families that the families are now going outside of Bartow and not being able to have these activities, and it kind of hurts my heart because Bartow has so much talent, and it's just the young athletes, they really pour their hearts into playing, and we've done really well with football, we're doing well with basketball, but when I hear about tennis courts being taken away or replaced, or basketball courts, they're not able to play basketball, we definitely need to improve in this area for this city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ball, the same question concerning amenities.
Yes, sir. I believe that we need to continue to move forward with taking and improving our current parks. We have taken and fallen behind. Our civic facilities as well. We need to take and promote them, to take and attract businesses in for the venues, to take and have meetings and conventions. Moving toward that type of a complex in the future would be very prosperous, I believe, to the city. Giving the community a place for our kids to grow and develop at home is an important asset. That's going to take and allow our children to take and grow and love our city, as well as families to want to come to our city. As we enhance those amenities, we're going to take and bring those young families and the children staying. The Leisure Master Plan takes and lays out very formidably how they can take and improve what we currently have, as well as remodeling our pool to make that an attraction for competitive participants, as well as maintaining a community component. I believe that that's a necessity, just looking at local areas that have already taken and progressed to splash pads and things of that nature. Not everyone can take and afford to go to some of our local state commercial complexes, and I believe that we should take and be able to have some of those amenities for our children right here at home. I don't believe we've taken and set out to fall behind. Others have just caught up with where we were.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cochran, your response to the amenities issue.
Well, there's two phases of amenities. Like I say, I call it, I lost my train of thought, but like I say, we Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes, indeed. Parks and play places allow families to bond, creating an enhanced quality of life. What are your ideas on enhancing youth sports here in Bartow? And also, what would you recommend to help recruit and hire people for the Leisure Services Department?
Well, we have always asked for volunteers in our recreation departments, and there's a lot of good people that volunteer. But to spend money in one place and neglect another place, that is wrong. It should be equaled out on all what you call parks and recreation, just like the golf course. Why can't the golf course break even? Not make no money, but just break even. We subsidize the golf course every year in the thousands of dollars. And any business in town, small or large, makes a profit or at least breaks even, or we wouldn't have no business. But what has happened to our golf course when we got auditors and everything else working for the golf course by the city? In other words, recreation can't kill the fire ants in Mary Holland Park, and that's not asking too much by the commissioners. They can spend money on a dog walk, which costs $100,000 or more, but they can't kill fire ants in Mary Holland Park. And our kids and the mothers that use that park is more important than the dog issue or so forth. They have taken the fishing piers away from Bartow. We used to have 3 or 4. Now we just got 1 in Mary Holland Park, and that is wrong. In other words, they need to build something up for all recreation.
Thank you, Mr. Cochran. We're halfway through. The next question has to do with diversity and cooperation. In working with your fellow commissioners, in what new ways can you see the commission facilitate an inclusive culture in Bartow? Ms. Pfeiffer.
Thank you. One of the things that I loved about what I learned as a commissioner before were resources that were available to me to learn about these things. And one was Project for Public Spaces. It just helps. It's a resource for cities, municipalities, and I pulled this one up today. It's 8 lessons to promote diversity in public spaces. And it's a great idea of using public spaces to promote diversity. And so these kind of resources are available to us for discussion and for think tanking on how we can answer these questions using what we already have. And it's an important part now with the diversity question, especially in Bartow with the way that Bartow is laid out. We have an east side, a middle, and a west side. And for us, how we bridge these 3 areas has been a kind of a challenge throughout the years. So it would be, this is a type of example of something that is a tool, and there's many tools out there for municipals that can address this question that is so topical now, and how we can come together and represent each other and become one community instead of 3 in our case, in our town. And I hate that bell.
Thank you, Ms. Pfeiffer. Mr. Johansson, your response to the diversity and cooperation question.
Well, diversity is, I'm pretty familiar with that because I married my wife is Chinese. I married her in Toronto, Canada, and the person that did the wedding was Jewish. He was a rabbi. So it's not just that, but it's also things too. In my career, I've worked with various different types of corporations. I speak 5 different languages, And I've traveled different parts of the world, and I've seen and also witnessed myself that how it feels to be different, how it feels to not fit in. And I think this is something that it's not just a city issue. It's what's happening here in the world, and we need to get more involved with each other's cultures and be more unified. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johansson. Mr. Ball, same question regarding diversity and cooperation.
Yeah, so this is going to be an answer in regards to not only the public, but to our employees. As a member of a diversity and inclusion committee, I understand that we need to take and improve in this facet in many ways. We're better than many, but we still have a ways to go to truly evaluate and understand where we need to be. Though we're a stronger community today than we were yesterday, we need to understand one another through collaborative communications. I've heard, as was said, nearly all my life in this city, east side, west side, downtown, south side, etc. But what we need is to be Bartow. We are Bartow side. We are a community. We need to stand on that principle. Through the communication and understanding, we can be unified as citizens of Bartow. I believe that we need to develop a diversity and inclusion program that will take and be inclusive of employees as well as citizens to take and help drive our leadership, to take and improve understanding of one another. And that understanding is not just by ethnicity, it's by gender, it's by age. Everybody takes and brings a different learning style to the table, personality traits, life experiences, and all those things take and shape who we are, and where we're going. And I believe that we need to take and give value to differentiate between diversity in theory and diversity in action.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Mr. Cochran, diversity and cooperation and working with your fellow commissioners. In what new ways can you see the commission facilitate an inclusive culture in Bartow?
Well, diversity has several meanings, but one meaning is having a range of people with various racial ethics, social, economics, various lifestyle experience and interests. There should be no class of people that is discriminated in Bartow. Everybody should be treated equally, and if not, they should be corrected, or what I call, like I say, they should be, I lost my train of thought again. But this is diversity. There's several meanings of diversity. But like I say, no people should be discriminated on account of their race, creed, or nationality. I don't care who it is, but it shouldn't be practiced and it shouldn't be allowed by the laws of our United States of America. They come here for a better life, not to take jobs and so forth that they're accused of taking. They want to live free and lively life given to them by, like I say, the Almighty. They shouldn't be discriminated in no way whatsoever.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cochran. This next question has to do with affordable housing. One of the biggest takeaways from the Bartow Master Plan is the need for affordable housing. What are your ideas to increase the number of affordable housing opportunities in our current economy? Mr. Ball.
Affordable housing, that's kind of a hard thing to say anymore, if there is such a thing. I believe that with the market the way that it is, it's going to be hard for us to take and facilitate that other than to take and modify and accept some of the changes that developers are bringing about with the smaller lots, the 40-foot lots, the ability to take and have more multi-family complexes. I believe that's the only way we're going to take and be able to continue this. If we can do this in cooperation with HUD as we take and progress forward, I believe that we're going to need federal assistance in this and cooperation at the state level as well to take and be able to facilitate this for our young, those that either are young and starting their first home, get a foot up, or those that are socioeconomically challenged to be able to get into a place of residency. That's going to be a hard road to take and tote in this day and time. And as the economy is taking and digressing at this point, we need to take and face that challenge up front.
Thank you. Mr. Cochran, your views about how to increase the number of affordable housing units in Bartow.
Well, we need more affordable houses, but in my time that I have lived in the city of Bartow, most of the old houses has been tore down for development or other reasons. And like I say, sooner or later, they run out of people, put people in those affordable houses. In other words, everyone would love to have $1 million home, but the poor people cannot afford it. And in the neighborhoods where the poorest people living in it, that's the one that should be helped and upgraded to build more affordable houses instead of just development. In other words, development is done reached almost its limits in Bartow because they've run out of land to build anything on. But in them poor neighborhoods, they've got plenty of vacant lots that they could use to build affordable houses for the poor people that lives in those areas. And upgrade them areas. Don't condemn those areas where the houses is being tore down and nothing's being built back. That is wrong. And that's what the city ought to look into on building up those areas.
Thank you. Mr. Johansson, the same question concerning affordable housing.
Okay, affordable housing. I'm listening, and here's my thought. We have a lot of, these are tough times. A lot of people have lost their jobs or losing their jobs. Some families, they can't even afford to put food on the table. And just to come home to a home, that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Maybe there's something we can do, not just as a city, but also a county, because we're growing so fast. Maybe there's something that the developers can do in addition so that we can also increase affordable housing in areas that are adequate and safe. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pfeiffer. Your views on how to increase the stock of affordable housing.
I think that the first thing that we need to do in our city, and every city is different, is to assess our housing inventory and then figure out what our needs are. For example, we have a tremendous amount of duplex rentals in our city. We have subsidized housing, we have HUD housing, we have apartments, and then we have housing developments. So we need to really figure out what our needs are so that we know what we want to try to cultivate for down the road that will be actually affordable housing. The developments that are coming in right now are going to be sold before they're even finished. So I don't know that I would consider that affordable housing. I don't feel that that's the level that we're talking about. I think we're talking about for the whether it's elderly or it's first-time buyers, definitely more apartments because people can't afford, they can't sometimes get into the housing. So we need to look at what we have and then what our needs are and what that target market is. Permits are off the chain right now, and so I think for our city that we need to determine what that is. And that will be through some sort of assessment of what we have and then trying to figure out where we need to go with that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pfeiffer. This next question has to do with quality of life. The future of any city is being able to keep our next generation and incentivize younger adults to move and raise families here. As a commissioner, how will you promote and improve our city to bring young and new families to Bartow? Mr. Cochran.
Well, first of all, people has got to get involved with their neighborhoods, their neighbors that live inside of them. Watch out for their kids that plays in the streets. In other words, we need to attract more parks in different parts of the city. Like in my neighborhood, we don't have no park for our kids to play in. In other words, we don't even have enough parking places for people to park in. The kids have to play out in the streets because they've done away with some of the parks in my area. We used to have parks, but they put roads to them for development and so forth. And that is doing the wrong thing for our kids. And like I say, you've got to have recreation to draw families and better paying jobs and so forth, or you're not going to attract people to come to Bartow. That's just the truth about coming to a town with no good, high-paying jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Cochran. Again, quality of life and attracting younger families to Bartow. Mr. Ball.
Yes, sir. I believe we need to take and continue to maintain our small-town charm, but we can accent that with a bit of big city feel. Enhance our restaurant access, improve our opportunities for entertainment, give a life after 5 o'clock. We know that our city reduces population probably by half when people leave from the county jobs that we have here. Enhance our amenities for our young families through better sports complexes, adult sporting events, bring back adult softball, things of this nature that will take and bring them to the community. Allow our leader services to do what they need to do to take and get this done, bring us back to where we shined in the past. I know that we've taken through the city, we support our schools. Our Bartow IB is rated 3rd in the nation. There's a reason that's happened, and that's because of what our county has done, what our city has done to help with that, and what it's attracted to the city.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Ms. Pfeiffer, same question, quality of life.
Quality of life kind of goes back to the amenity question, and again, an amenity-rich environment helps cultivate a healthy lifestyle through these amenities, and everything that we've already discussed before, the sporting complexes, a vibrant downtown, the cigar factory. Why I've advocated for that for so long is because as a visionary and what I can always see in my brain is that it's a vibrant multi-use complex that has something that contributes as a destination for people to come to our city, just like the L.B. Brown House. So that's a wonderful thing that adds to our quality of life, and our history center, and what we can do to make things interesting to attract people and ask them what they want. The people, the community, the citizens can tell you. I've often done Facebook posts and asked people, what would you like to see? As a matter of fact, I did that, and it was a sci-fi convention, and now we have Sci-Fi Bartow through asking about that. So quality of life is huge. We all want to spend quality time with our families, and you need amenities to do that. Our trail, our Fort Fraser Trail, is a great amenity that we have here. We just can't get on it safely. So hopefully a pedestrian bridge will come for that soon, and that will add to our quality of life amenity for safe exercise.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pfeiffer. Mr. Johansson.
Could you repeat the question for me,
Yes,
please?
indeed. Quality of life. The future of any city is being able to keep our next generation and incentivize younger adults to move and raise families here. As a commissioner, how will you promote and improve our city to bring young and new families to Bartow?
Well, that's a good question. And a lot has changed since COVID, but it's also brought good things. People now are starting their own businesses. We have a lot more small businesses than we used to. And in order to support these small businesses that are coming into our city, we need to, I think we should have something, better improvement with our broadband system. You know, every technology, we've got a technology hub just right down the road here in Tampa that's expanding and growing, but a lot of people can't afford to live there, so they're coming here to Bartow. Well, why can't we have the same thing? Why can't we have a strong technology hub to entice those young entrepreneurs, those 30-year-olds who are becoming millionaires? And we've got a lot of land to provide, so that they can build and grow and grow with their families as they stay here longer. Really, quality life, it's all about, it kind of wraps up every single thing that we're talking about tonight. That is what quality life is. All these things that we're discussing tonight, that's the true quality life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johansson. The next question has to do with city commissioner requirements. Being a commissioner is not a full-time job, but it requires a lot of time and dedication. Will you be able to devote the time that it takes to be an effective city commissioner? And what would be your top priority, Mr. Ball?
Yes, I believe that with my current career, I have the ability to take and facilitate as much needed time to the commission. I believe that whether it be through research and in my off time, as well as my participation in each and every meeting as is afforded the opportunity. I've taken and been accustomed to working 24-hour shifts, so I'm well acclimated to working a lot and spending a lot of time putting forward what is necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Mr. Cochran, the same question concerning city commissioner requirements.
Well, my requirement and what I have called 50 years of going to city commissioner meetings gives me qualification to be a city commissioner. Like I say, I have attended most city commissioner meetings for the last 50 years, and I have also got up and voiced my opinion at most meetings. Like I say, I have tried to bring to the people how our budget money is being spent and a lot of it being wasted. In other words, you don't get free money from not raising taxes or so forth. But all I ever hear about the commissioners, oh, we haven't raised your taxes in years. But what they don't realize, your assessed value of your property has went up every year since. And that's what raises the taxes on your property, whether they approve a percentage, a tax increase every year. But like I say, I have been faithfully trying to bring out how our budget money is being spent or wasted. And I believe I'm better qualified for doing that for the last 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cochran. Mr. Johansson, your question, your comment concerning city commissioner requirements, will you have the time to devote to that job?
Thank you. Yes, whoa, feedback here. It's not easy sitting sitting behind here tonight, but it's also not easy sitting behind the commission desk because or the chamber, because I know that, because I was also I'm still the one of the planning and zoning commissioners for almost 6 years now, and there's just there's so much that We have to analyze and go through. I mean, this is just from one night. This right here is just from one night. And it's almost going back to college. You got to do your homework. You have to research. You have to go to the locations. You have to see what is being talked about. It's not just the agenda. It's also the legal issues that are involved too. There's a lot involved in this. So what I'm saying is, I'm making the time. I'm making the time to do this, and I've cleared my agenda. I do not have a company or a position right now because I want this to be my main focus, because the North District is one of the largest districts in the city of Bartow, and it needs a lot of attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johansson. Ms. Pfeiffer.
When I first became a commissioner, I did not have any idea what the time requirements were. And luckily, I own my own business, Simply Storage on West Main, and I didn't have a lot of demands there for my time. So I was able to become a sponge and learn and be available to take the time, all the time that I needed to be a full-time commissioner. I recently was the leadership program manager with Polk Vision, and I resigned from there so that I could run and again be able to have that time available to me, because it's not just a seat. It's a mission for me to learn and try to make things better. I have tons of resources that I found when I went through the years of wonderful things to help us. And so I am totally dedicated and available and look forward to hopefully serving the city again. I think people know me and know that I care about the city, and that I will definitely be able to serve and take the time. So yes, I have plenty of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Pfeiffer. This will be our 10th and final question, and it gives the candidates an opportunity to mention anything you'd like the citizens to know about you. Briefly give our audience tonight your comments concerning anything you feel is important regarding the outcome of the upcoming election. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I believe that coming over to the City Commission for me would be an opportunity to take and bring my more than 40 years of experience to Bartow to create the infrastructure as it needs, the support and implementation in that growth. I believe that we can bring together a stronger community and through collaboration and positively shape the future. Given that opportunity to serve on the City Commission, I'll commit to that, serving with civility and finishing out what I'd started earlier, employing strong communications and timely implementation. As a hardworking citizen of Bartow, I've reached a point in my career where I do have the experience to move the city forward, the time and flexibility in my schedule to give as a collection of years of expertise and wisdom to be your voice as the City Commission, and I'd be honored to serve you.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Ms. Pfeiffer, same question, your wrap up.
Thank you, Clifton. Can you repeat the question again? I've got a Gerald.
It's your wrap up. Give the audience your comments concerning anything you feel is important regarding the outcome of the upcoming election.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. This is an important election, and leadership for this city is vital to be able to move us forward. Collaboration is key, being able to work together. There's a lot of moving parts for the city, and it's going to take a good team, a good collaboration of minds that will be willing to work together and listen to the community and what their needs are. It's a one-person race, one-seat race, so it doesn't make it easy for, or very enthusiastic for people to come to the polls, but it is important, and I'm hoping that listening to us tonight and caring about our city, that people will come out and vote. I think you have some good options here, I admit it, and that's wonderful. So I'm hoping that I can get back in there and put my passion and time and caring and committedness to this city back to work and be able to bring my skill set and thoughts and creativity to the table so that we can do what all of us want here, and that's to make a better Bartow. So hoping that you'll come out and vote April 5th or by mail. Thank you.
Mr. Cochran, your wrap-up statement.
Well, I am a born citizen of Bartow. I have lived here for 82 years, and like I say, I have been to the commission meetings, most of them for the last 50 years. This is my 29th time for running for city commission, and I've always voiced my opinion about how our budget money is being spent throughout Bartow. If I'm elected, I am elected to represent all the people and the citizens of Bartow, whether they're rich, poor, or who are they. But like I say, Bartow needs to change. I believe in two-term limit on running, and I believe in having an elected mayor for the city of Bartow like other cities have. And like I say, until that is done, I will keep voicing my opinion on how the budget money is being spent throughout Bartow and wasted sometimes in the city of Bartow. And I believe in treating everybody equal and, like I say, trying to make a better Bartow all the time for the citizens of Bartow. And truth is my major thing. I always speak the truth and try to get an answer by the commissioners, but for some reason they seem to ignore it.
Thank you, Mr. Cochran. Mr. Johansson, your summary statement.
Well, I've been serving now for, again, the Planning and Zoning Commission for almost 6 years, and through all that, I've been growing with having discernment, and knowing what's right from wrong, and the importance of diversity, and I believe everyone should have a voice, and not one person's vote is more important than the other. And transparency is very important to me, and we need transparency with leadership and communication. And every person in this city deserves a strong, dependable foundation to rely upon and be heard and to affect them. So if you give me a chance, I can prove myself. Not only am I Stephen Johansson, I'm running for city commission, but I'm asking for your vote and your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes the question and answer segment of this forum. We want to thank each of these candidates, not only for being here tonight, but for stepping up to the plate and offering that service to the citizens of Bartow to this important elective office. We also want to thank the volunteers who are here tonight to make this possible. We want to thank the Bartow Chamber of Commerce, who seem to always step up to the plate and perform a worthwhile civic duty. And we especially want to thank again the Main Street Baptist Church for making this facility available. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and good night, everyone. We urge you to vote on April the 5th. Please vote. Thank you.